Have you ever thought the person closest to you could be the most dangerous? I stood there in a Miami courtroom, watching my mom, Linda, smile as Uncle Richard placed his hand on my sister Emily's surgical scar, his eyes sending chills down my spine. "He just wanted to help," Mom said, but that smile hid a horrifying secret I never saw coming. I'm Sarah, a nurse at Jackson Memorial Hospital, and this story began 8 months ago when I uncovered a chilling truth about my family. Emily, my 7-year-old sister, had severe liver disease, her skin yellow like a cartoon character. The doctor warned, without a transplant within 2 months, she wouldn't make it. I tried everything, calling every relative, but Mom refused, saying she didn't want to ruin her summer body. Dad, David, hated hospitals. My brother James claimed he was too busy, though I knew he was jobless. It felt like the world turned its back on Emily, and I, her only sister fighting for her, was trapped in a nightmare. Hope seemed lost until my cousin Anna called. After 3 years of being shunned by the family for her shady job, she offered to donate her liver. I thought it was a light at the end of the tunnel, but when I shared the news, Mom screamed over FaceTime, "She'll ruin that girl," and threatened to cut me off. I pinched my nose, trying to stay calm, but my gut screamed something was deeply wrong. Then one day, I walked into Mom's house and found Emily unconscious on the couch, a fresh scar on her stomach. Linda proudly declared, "Richard saved her." Richard, my uncle, whose creepy smile haunted me since childhood. He whispered, "Now Emily's mine too." That's when I knew I was facing a monster, and Mom was helping him. If your guts ever scream something's off, this video's for you. I'm Sarah, and if you just heard about the day I stood in a Miami courtroom watching my mom, Linda, smile as Uncle Richard touched my sister Emily's surgical scar, you know I'm living a nightmare. To understand how it got this bad, let me take you back 8 months, when my world started crumbling. Emily, my 7-year-old sister, was my light. But one day, her skin turned yellow like Marge Simpson in a cartoon. Doctors at Jackson Memorial Hospital confirmed Emily had severe liver disease. Without a transplant in 2 months, she wouldn't survive. As a nurse at that same hospital, I knew the donor waitlist was a dead end. People without wealth or connections rarely get a chance. I couldn't let Emily become one of them. I called every family member, begging them to get tested to see if they could donate a liver. Their responses broke my heart. Mom, Linda, shut me down cold over the phone. "I'm not getting an ugly scar right before summer. I've got bikinis to wear." I was stunned. My own mother put her looks above her daughter's life. Dad, David, shook his head, saying he hated hospitals, the smell of antiseptic, and wouldn't set foot in one. I swallowed my anger, but the worst came from my brother, James. He claimed he couldn't take time off because work was too busy. Truth is, I knew James had been unemployed for a year, just sitting at home playing video games. Not one family member stepped up for Emily, and it felt like the world had turned its back on us. Every night, I sat by Emily's bed holding her hand, her small face lit by the glow of a nightlight. She'd ask in a weak voice, "Sarah, will I be okay?" I'd smile, lie that everything would be fine, but inside, I was dying of fear. As a nurse, I knew her chances were slipping away. I'd checked, and I wasn't a match to donate. The helplessness stabbed like a knife. I called distant relatives, but no one answered. Our Miami family was already distant, and now they seemed to care less about a little girl fighting to live. I considered putting Emily on the donor wait list, but I knew the odds were slim. I'd seen too many patients left behind in this healthcare system, and I couldn't let Emily become just another number. It felt like I was up against a brick wall, time ticking away by the second. Every time I looked into Emily's clear eyes, I told myself I'd find a way, no matter what. But in my darkest moment, a call came out of nowhere. It was Anna, my cousin, shunned by the family for her different lifestyle, and she brought a spark of hope I never expected. I still remember that moment, sitting in my small Miami apartment, staring at the clock nearing midnight, gripping my phone, heart pounding for Emily, my 7-year-old sister with her jaundiced skin and tired eyes, was fighting a cruel liver disease day by day. My family had turned their backs. Mom, Linda, cared more about her bikini than her daughter's life. Dad, David, avoided hospitals like the plague. My brother James lied blatantly about work. I felt like I was drowning in darkness, no way out. Then, my phone buzzed and the name on the screen stopped me cold. Anna, my cousin, the family outcast, shunned like a stain for working in adult films after her divorce. Anna and I hadn't spoken in 3 years. My family, with their hypocritical Miami morals, branded her a traitor, but her voice on the phone was warm, resolute. "Sarah, I heard about Emily. I want to get tested to donate my liver." I could hardly believe my ears. A spark of hope flared like sunlight through a storm. Anna didn't hesitate or calculate. She just wanted to save Emily. I choked up, tears streaming down my face, feeling like someone was finally on our side. I arranged for Anna to get tested at Jackson Memorial Hospital, and the results were a miracle. She was a match. For a moment, I thought everything would be okay, that Emily would be saved, but that joy didn't last. When I shared the news in the family group chat, my phone blew up. Linda, my mom, called via FaceTime, her face red with rage. "What does that woman think she's doing meddling with Emily?" she screamed, voice shrill. "Anna will ruin her, Sarah. She's trash and you're an idiot for letting her near." I was stunned, pinching my nose to keep from yelling back. Linda didn't just object. She threatened to cut me off if I let Anna help. Her follow-up texts were vicious, calling me a family traitor. I tried to stay calm, but my gut screamed something was deeply wrong with her reaction. Why was she so furious? Why did she care more about the family image than Emily's life? I decided to act behind Linda's back. I quietly scheduled Emily's liver transplant with Anna as the donor. Every step felt like walking a tightrope, knowing Mom would never forgive me. But I didn't care. Emily was everything, and I'd do anything to save her. Little did I know, that decision opened the door to a secret far more horrifying than I could have imagined. If you've ever fought to protect someone you love, you'll understand how my heart felt crushed in that moment. I'm Sarah, and if you've followed my story, you know I found a glimmer of hope when my cousin Anna offered to donate her liver to save my sister Emily from her cruel liver disease. But that joy vanished like sunlight in a Miami storm when my mom, Linda, screamed over FaceTime that Anna would ruin her. I secretly scheduled the transplant, thinking I could outmaneuver Mom's control, but nothing prepared me for the horror waiting. One afternoon, after a 20-hour shift at Jackson Memorial Hospital, I drove to Mom's house in the Miami suburbs to pick up Emily. I'd left her with Mom, believing that despite her selfishness, she'd never harm her own granddaughter. But when I walked in, my heart stopped. Emily, my frail 7-year-old, was unconscious on the couch, something she'd never done, even at her sickest. "Is she getting worse?" I whispered, voice shaking, nearly shouting. Linda just flashed a bizarre, too bright smile. "No, she's fine," she declared, her excitement chilling me to the bone. Before I could speak, Mom lifted Emily's shirt, revealing a long, fresh scar across her stomach. "Isn't it wonderful? Uncle Richard saved her," Linda said like it was a triumph. I froze, my mind reeling. Richard, the uncle I'd feared since childhood. with eyes that seemed to devour everything. He stepped out from the corner, his predatory smile dragging up dark memories of when he'd touch me and call me his special girl. "Come on, Sarah, don't be rude," Linda said, her voice sickeningly sweet. "Richard donated his liver to save Emily. At least give him a hug." My throat tightened, like someone was choking me. "You said he moved to Canada," I muttered, voice trembling. Linda laughed. "Oh, he did, but he came back just to save Emily." Then Richard stepped closer, his hand brushing my back, whispering low so only I could hear. "Now Emily's got a piece of me, just like you did." I shoved him away, heart racing, instincts screaming to get Emily out. I scooped her up, her body limp in my arms, and bolted for the door, leaving Mom's threatening yells and Richard's cold stare behind. In the car, I held Emily tight, my mind in chaos. I thought I was saving her by contacting Anna, but Mom and Richard had secretly done the surgery, and Richard, the man I always distrusted, was now the hero donor. My gut screamed this wasn't heroism, it was a sick plan. If you've ever felt the world hiding a dark secret, you'll understand why I couldn't stop, no matter the cost. I'm Sarah, and if you've followed my story, you know the horrifying moment I discovered my mom, Linda, and Uncle Richard secretly performed Emily's liver surgery behind my back. The fresh scar on my 7-year-old sister's stomach, Richard's predatory smile, and his vile whisper, "Now Emily's got a piece of me," still haunt me. I grabbed Emily and fled Mom's house, heart racing, instincts screaming to protect her from that monster. But I never expected that. From that moment, my fight wouldn't just be against Richard, but against my entire family and Miami community turning against me. I acted fast. Knowing Emily needed post-surgery care, I worked grueling 20-hour shifts at Jackson Memorial Hospital to save for leave. I couldn't leave her with Mom, but I couldn't let her be alone either. I called our family lawyer, desperate to block Richard's access to Emily. Then I uncovered something that froze my blood. Linda had filed for Emily's medical guardianship, and Richard, as the liver donor, was named medical overseer. He could attend her appointments, access her records, even decide her treatment. I called the hospital, voice shaking, but they confirmed the paperwork was legal and I couldn't change it immediately. It got worse. Linda launched a smear campaign against me on social media. In Miami's community Facebook group, she posted relentlessly, "Pray for my daughter, Sarah. She's unhinged, slandering the uncle who saved her niece." Her posts spread like wildfire. Neighbors, church friends, even former colleagues commented, calling me crazy or ungrateful daughter. Each comment stabbed like a knife. I tried explaining, but no one listened. They saw Richard as the hero donor and me as the family wrecker. I turned to Claire, my high school best friend, the only one who knew about my dark childhood memories with Richard. But when I told her everything, she looked down, her hand brushing a surgical scar from a childhood accident. "Sarah, I need your mom's recommendation for nursing school," she whispered. "If I side with you, I lose everything." I saw the conflict in her eyes, but she chose her career over helping me. My heart shattered. Another friend abandoned me, and the walls closed in. Every night, I held Emily as she slept, checking every lock in our small Miami apartment. I knew Richard was out there, with his sick smile and medical guardianship in hand. I wasn't just fighting to keep Emily safe. I was fighting to keep myself from breaking. But I knew if I stopped, he'd win. If you've ever felt the world against you while protecting someone you love, you'll understand why I had to keep going, even as everything crumbled around me. I'm Sarah, and if you've followed my story, You know I'm fighting alone to protect my sister Emily from Uncle Richard, the man who secretly donated his liver to her, but whose predatory gaze chills me to the bone. My mom, Linda, not only enables him, but smeared me online, turning the Miami community against me, labeling me crazy. My best friend Claire ditched me for her career, and I felt like I was drowning. But I never expected things to get worse that afternoon at Walgreens, where Emily and I were thrust into a public drama that exploded across social media. That day, I took Emily to the Walgreens in downtown Miami to pick up her anti-rejection meds vital for her new liver. I held her hand tightly, eyes scanning for Richard, terrified he'd show up. And there he was at the vitamin aisle, flashing a smile that made my skin crawl. "Hey, my special girl," he said, his voice sickeningly sweet. Touching Emily's shoulder, she shrank back, clinging to my leg, her little face pale with fear. I pulled her behind me, yelling, "Don't touch her!" But Richard didn't stop. He waved a stack of papers telling the pharmacist he was Emily's medical overseer and demanded control of her prescription. The pharmacy fell silent, all eyes on us. An older woman frowned at Richard. A mom pulled her kid away. Then I heard the click of a phone. Someone was recording. Richard, smirking, announced loudly, "I just want to ensure my niece is cared for, but her sister's too paranoid." The pharmacist, confused, asked for verification. I tried to stay calm, explaining I was Emily's primary guardian, but my voice shook, and I knew I looked unhinged. Hours later, a video hit TikTok with "Miami Pharmacy Meltdown." Edited slickly, it showed only me yanking Emily from Richard, omitting his touch or his creepy stare. The caption read, "Crazy sister slanders uncle who saved her sister's life." It went viral, racking up thousands of shares. Miami's Facebook group erupted with comments. "Shameful. He donated his liver and she treats him like this." Or, "She's clearly manipulating that kid." Each comment stabbed deeper. I posted explanations, but they drowned in the hate storm. Worse, Richard and Linda used the incident to strengthen their medical guardianship claim. Linda called, voice icy, "Give Emily back, or I'll report you for kidnapping." I trembled, watching Emily draw at the kitchen table, her hand brushing her scar. I knew if Richard got near her, he'd hurt her, like he did me as a kid. But now, Miami, from neighbors to hospital colleagues, sided with him. I felt like I was battling an invisible monster, fueled by Mom's lies and everyone's naivety. If you've ever been misunderstood while fighting for what's right, you'll know why I can't give up, even as everything crumbles. I'm Sarah, and if you followed my story, you know I'm fighting a lonely battle to protect my sister Emily from Uncle Richard, whose predatory gaze chills me despite donating his liver to her. My mom, Linda, not only enables him, but slandered me online, making me crazy in Miami's eyes. After the Walgreens fiasco, with the Miami Pharmacy Meltdown TikTok going viral, I'm branded a liar while Richard's hailed a hero. I felt like I was drowning, with no one left to trust. Then, a chilling discovery. Richard's dangerous past, hidden by Mom for years. It started when I rummaged through Emily's late dad's safe, gone 2 years from cancer. Inside, I found yellow documents revealing a horrifying truth. 10 years ago, Richard was investigated for inappropriate behavior with another child in our Miami family, a distant cousin. Police reports noted he'd approach her at family gatherings, always with a camera, asking odd questions about her body. But Linda vouched for him, claiming the girl imagined it all. The case closed for lack of evidence, and Richard walked free. Reading this, my blood froze. Mom knew. She knew Richard was dangerous, but still let him near Emily. I called Linda that night, voice shaking with rage. "You knew about Richard's investigation, didn't you?" She paused, then coldly replied, "Don't dig up the past. Keep talking, and I'll sue you for slander." I was stunned. Mom chose to protect Richard over her granddaughter. She even threatened to use her pull with Miami's medical board to get me fired if I exposed the documents. I hung up, hands trembling, mind reeling. I faced a choice: reveal the truth and risk losing everything, my job, reputation, even custody of Emily, or stay silent and let Richard manipulate us. I chose to fight. I contacted a new lawyer, sent her the documents, but she warned they're too old for direct court evidence. I needed fresh proof tied to Emily. Every step felt heavier. Linda kept posting on Facebook, calling me obsessed with the past, turning my last Miami friends against me. A Jackson Memorial colleague texted, "Sarah, stop. Richard saved Emily. You're making a mess." I wanted to scream they're blind to the truth, that Richard's no hero but a monster. Without clear evidence, no one would believe me. Each night, I sat by Emily as she slept, her hand brushing her scar. I told myself to stay strong, to protect her, but with Linda and Richard's tight grip and the community against me, I felt like I was battling an unstoppable force. If you've ever felt the truth buried by lies, you'll understand why I can't stop, even as my heart breaks. I'm Sarah, and if you've followed my story, you know I'm fighting to protect my sister Emily from Uncle Richard, whose predatory eyes and dark past, hidden by my mom, Linda, haunt me. After the Walgreens chaos, with a TikTok smear video going viral in Miami, I learned Linda knew about Richard's investigation a decade ago, yet let him near Emily. Isolated and labeled crazy online, I felt the world against me. But I never expected Richard to escalate things so boldly, shocking all of Jackson Memorial Hospital. That day, I took Emily for her routine post-transplant checkup. Clutching her hand, I scanned the crowded hallway, dreading Richard's appearance. And then he showed up, not as I feared, but worse. Dressed in a white coat with a fake staff badge, he posed as Emily's supervising doctor. I froze as he strode into the exam room, smoothly saying, "I need to check this patient." Emily shrank back, clinging to me, face pale. "Sarah, don't let him near me," she whispered, voice trembling. I pulled her behind me, yelling, "He's not a doctor, he's her uncle." The nurses stared, confused, but Richard stayed calm, flashing his medical overseer papers, courtesy of Linda. I lunged, yanking Emily from his reach, and a shouting match erupted in the exam room. "He's trying to kidnap my sister!" I screamed, voice breaking with panic. Richard, smirking, told the nurses, "Her sister's too paranoid. I just want my niece healthy." A crowd gathered, phones up, recording. A security guard stepped in, urging me to calm down, but I couldn't. If Richard took Emily, I might lose her forever. Finally, a head doctor recognized Richard's badge as fake, and he was escorted out. But the damage was done. Hours later, a new video hit Instagram with hashtag Miami Hospital Chaos. Cleverly edited, it showed only me yelling and pulling Emily, painting Richard as the victim of an unhinged sister. The caption read, "Crazy sister attacks uncle in hospital." It racked up tens of thousands of views, and Miami's Facebook group exploded. "She needs a psych ward," one comment said. "Poor uncle, just trying to help," another wrote. I sat in my apartment, comments stabbing like knives, heart aching. Linda called soon after, voice icy. "You're ruining your life, Sarah. Give Emily back, or I'll make sure you lose everything." I held Emily tighter, watching her draw, her small hand brushing her scar. I knew Richard was exploiting his medical guardianship to manipulate, with Linda's clout on Miami's medical board as his strongest weapon. I felt like I was battling a monster with 100 arms, each one blocking my path. But looking into Emily's eyes, I swore not to give up. If you've ever felt the world siding with the wrong person, you'll understand why I must keep going, even as my heart shatters. I'm Sarah, and if you've followed my story, you know I'm fighting to protect my sister Emily from Uncle Richard, who posed as a doctor to get near her at Jackson Memorial Hospital. The at Miami Hospital Chaos Instagram video branded me the crazy sister in Miami's eyes. My mom, Linda, keeps slandering me online and hid Richard's dark past. Trapped in a nightmare with everyone I trusted turning away, I had to change into someone even I don't recognize to save Emily. I used to be Sarah, the devoted nurse, putting family first. But my kindness only let Richard manipulate us. I had to play his game, even if it meant losing myself. One afternoon, I faked a reconciliation with Richard at a Miami Beach cafe. Smiling, I apologized for misunderstanding him, secretly memorizing his phone unlock pattern. When he stepped away for a call, I accessed his device. What I saw stopped my heart. Dozens of texts to Linda about keeping Emily close and making her his. I screenshotted them, sent them to myself, and erased my tracks. Each step felt like crossing a moral line, but for Emily, I couldn't stop. I also broke a promise to Emily's dad, who died 2 years ago. On his deathbed, he made me swear never to contact his judgmental, controlling parents. But I had no choice. I drove to their Coral Gables home, begging them to testify about Richard's past. Emily's grandma, eyes red, shared how they'd suspected Richard's overly close behavior with grandkids at family gatherings. They agreed to testify, but her voice shook. This will tear the family apart. I nodded, tears falling, knowing I was sacrificing every tie to save Emily. Each night, I sit in my small apartment, watching Emily sleep, her hand on her scar. I hate who I'm becoming, calculating, ready to lie, to hurt others for my goal. But her clear eyes remind me it's worth it. I'm no longer the naive nurse. I'm a warrior doing whatever it takes to keep Emily safe. If you've ever done something against your conscience to protect someone you love, you'll understand why I must keep going, even as my heart shatters. I'm Sarah, and if you've followed my story, you know I've transformed into someone I barely recognize to protect my sister Emily from Uncle Richard. After the Jackson Memorial Hospital chaos, where Richard posed as a doctor, and the Miami Hospital Chaos video branded me crazy in Miami's eyes. I uncovered Mom's cover-up of Richard's dark past. I crossed moral lines, stealing evidence from his phone and contacting Emily's grandparents, despite my promise to her late dad. I'm walking a tightrope, but I needed stronger proof, something to crush Richard in court. Then an unexpected chance came with hope and risks bigger than I imagined. I reached out to Mia, an old college friend, now a Miami cybersecurity expert. Over coffee, I spilled everything. Richard's predatory gaze, his manipulation of Linda and the community. Mia agreed to help but warned, "This breaks laws. If we're caught, we're in deep trouble." I nodded, no turning back. Mia hacked Richard's iCloud, uncovering a damning trove. Hundreds of texts and photos, not just about Emily, but his overly close interactions with other kids in the family. One message to Linda chilled me. "Emily's mine. I saved her, and I'll keep her close forever." I screenshotted it, hands shaking, feeling like I'd touched poison. But this evidence, though powerful, was illegally obtained, useless in court directly. I needed another way to expose Richard. I turned to Claire, the friend who'd backed off for Linda's recommendation. I sent her the screenshots, not revealing how I got them. Claire called, voice trembling. "Sarah, I was wrong. I saw those texts. I'll testify for you. I nearly cried. Claire, who chose her career over me, now stood with me, risking her nursing school chance. She'd seen Richard act oddly at the hospital, always asking about Emily with unnatural eyes. Her testimony was a lifeline, but risky. If the court rejected my evidence, Claire would be dragged into danger with me. In my apartment, I watched Emily sleep, her hand on her scar. The iCloud evidence and Claire's promise are my strongest weapons, but they're a double-edged sword. If I fail, Richard's medical guardianship could take Emily forever. I feel like I'm in a life or death gamble, with everything I love on the line. If you've ever risked it all for someone dear, you'll understand why I'm ready to face any consequence, even as my heart trembles with fear. I'm Sarah, and if you've followed my story, you know I've become a warrior, crossing every line to protect my sister Emily from Uncle Richard, whose predatory eyes and dark past haunt us. After the Jackson Memorial Hospital chaos, where Richard posed as a doctor, I uncovered damning iCloud evidence, texts and photos proving his sick obsession with Emily. My friend Claire, risking her career, agreed to testify. All my sleepless nights and moral sacrifices led to this: the Miami courtroom, where Emily's fate would be decided. That day, I held Emily's hand as we entered the courtroom, my heart pounding. Emily wore the purple dress her late dad bought, clutching her stuffed bunny, eyes anxious but trusting me. The room was packed. Linda's church friends, neighbors, former colleagues. Richard sat across, polished and smirking, next to Linda, who glared at me like I was a traitor. Claire sat in the back, pale but resolute, her eyes saying she wouldn't back down. The trial began with Emily's forensic interview on screen. Her small voice silenced the room as she described Richard touching her scar, her fear when he called her special in the hospital. "I don't want him near me," she said, trembling, and I saw people lower their heads, some wiping tears. The forensic expert confirmed Emily's story was consistent, unforced. Her fear, genuine. Richard sat still, but his hands clenched, his smile fading. On the stand, my legs shook, but I kept my voice steady, recounting Richard's suspicious behavior, his fake doctor stunt, and the sick texts I found. His lawyer attacked, citing my work schedule during Emily's surgery, calling me a neglectful sister. I'd rehearsed dozens of times, answering concisely, sticking to facts. Then Claire testified, her voice shaky but clear, describing Richard's obsessive hospital questions about Emily, his off eyes. Linda, defending Richard, faltered when my lawyer pressed about his investigation a decade ago. "I don't recall," she said, but her eyes betrayed her. She knew, and she'd hidden it. The climax came when Richard took the stand. He started confidently, spinning a tale of love for Emily, his liver donation, but under pressure, he cracked. "Emily's mine," he shouted, leaping up. "I saved her, and no one can take her from me." The courtroom froze. Linda sobbed, covering her face as Richard's lawyer yanked him down. The judge scribbled furiously, eyes sharp. I held Emily tight, feeling hope but fearing it could still collapse. If you've stood at a moment where everything you love hangs in the balance, you'll know why my heart felt like it stopped. I'm Sarah, and if you've followed my story, you know I fought to the end to protect my sister Emily from Uncle Richard, whose sick intentions hid behind his liver donation. The Miami trial was the climax. Emily's testimony, Claire's bravery, and Richard's outburst exposed the truth. Mom, Linda, despite defending him, faltered under questions about his past, revealing her complicity. I sat in court, holding Emily, heart pounding, awaiting the fateful verdict. But this journey wasn't just a victory. It's about what I lost and the lessons I learned to protect those I love. The judge, stern-eyed, ruled, "I keep custody of Emily. Richard is banned from unsupervised contact until she's 18. Emily's medical decisions go through a court-appointed intermediary. Linda can visit, but only at a supervised facility." Hearing this, I hugged Emily, tears streaming, but the joy wasn't complete. Linda left the courtroom sobbing with her church friends, her eyes full of pain and regret. Richard, escorted out after yelling Emily belonged to him, was arrested 2 days later. Police found more evidence on his devices, online chats with dangerous groups, not enough for heavy charges. He got house arrest and mandatory treatment, not the justice I wanted, but enough to keep him from Emily. A week later, Linda stood at my Miami apartment door. Looking decades older, she begged to see Emily at the supervised facility, voice trembling. I agreed. Emily still needs family, even broken pieces. Early visits were tough. Linda brought coloring books, tried to be cheerful, then broke down, sobbing and apologizing to Emily for failing her. It's a start, but trust is shattered. Claire, after testifying, lost her nursing school chance but told me, "Sarah, you were worth the risk." We're rebuilding our friendship, slowly but genuinely. Emily and I moved to a new Miami neighborhood, away from judgmental eyes. Each night, I give her anti-rejection meds, watching her smile and ask about chocolate ice cream. Her nightmares fade with play therapy. I started therapy too, facing guilt for not protecting Emily sooner and the pain of losing most of my family. But seeing Emily run in the park, her scar just a thin line, I know every sacrifice was worth it.